Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, emergency services are searching the Cataract Gorge for a lost swimmer after she was separated from her friends and family. Police say the woman in her 20s was lost while swimming in the first basin as they extend their search for her.
A popular swimming spot becoming the focus of an intense search. The Westpac rescue helicopter flew low over Launceston's first basin, scanning for a lost swimmer, a woman in her 20s, missing after entering the water.
They were swimming with their friends and family and they've just lost sight of her.
Raising the alarm just after 1 this afternoon. Police assembled by the basin as SES covered the shore by foot. Kayaks paddled out to the middle, the search eventually making its way downstream into the rapids. Crowds of people had flocked here with the temperature climbing above 30 degrees. Many stayed put, captivated by the search.
It was very busy. There were so many cops and it was very busy.
I saw the police cars and then I saw the people in the kayaks and then they just told me somebody had gone missing.
Today's waters were higher than usual, with hydro releasing a flow at Trevelyan Dam. Police are warning swimmers, be careful.
Swimming is as it always is. It's a great pastime but a risky one. Do swim with friends and family and take care of each other.
Authorities remaining hopeful this swimming trip doesn't turn into a tragedy.
And Josh Duggan joins us now from Cataract Gorge. Josh, the search is extending into the night.
It is, Louise, and emergency services are throwing all their resources at this one, which will continue for as long as possible. Police, ambulance, SES, the Westpac rescue helicopter and surf lifesaving are still all on the scene after 5 hours, and we understand a dive team is being driven up from Hobart to continue the search underwater. The operation has moved away from the first basin now, mainly focusing on the rapids just below, but it's unclear if they'll be able to work overnight as that area is quite rocky. Emergency services, like everyone, are still hoping for a good resolution to this one. Louise?
A 25-year-old man is in custody in relation to a suspected murder on Sunday night in Sprent in the state's northwest. The man was arrested in East Devonport without incident overnight after multiple police resources attended a property in East Devonport. It's anticipated the man will be interviewed tomorrow. Charges are yet to be laid. Tasmanian childhood educators are concerned they can't cope with managing positive COVID cases and tracing close contacts. One centre is warning the new government guidelines could put staff and families at risk.
For childcare centres across the state, navigating the new COVID guidelines isn't all fun and games, many feeling the pinch of responsibility that comes with managing positive cases.
It's an enormous amount of pressure on the relationship between the educator and the family, and also on the parent and their own employment position when they're under that amount of stress.
The opposition is concerned educators will be the ones left to do the heavy lifting when it comes to tracking close contacts, warning the new rules aren't black and white.
It's very frustrating for the parents involved, but it's putting our centres and our centre workers in the middle of poor government messaging.
Childcare workers and teachers will be among 128 additional industries allowed to work if they've been identified as a close contact of a positive case.
This will include health, welfare, care and support, including the production and provision of medical, pharmaceutical and health supplies, as well as pharmacy workers critical to operations.
4,000 rapid antigen tests will be set aside so those without COVID can continue to work in essential services. Meanwhile, a 79-year-old woman has died at the Launceston General Hospital, marking 3 deaths since the borders reopened. Tasmania recorded 643 new cases today, and public health is optimistic the state has reached its peak of Omicron infections, but daily numbers aren't expected to drop anytime soon.
There may well be a gradual diminution over time, but I expect any change from here on to be rather slower.
A glimmer of hope the worst of the pandemic could be behind us. AINSLEY, KOCH, 7 Tasmania News.
For the first time in 50 years, the Aboriginal flag now belongs to the Australian people after the designer agreed to transfer copyright to the government for $20 million. It means anyone can now use or replicate the image for free. The news, however, has not been well received by the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre, who've called the news a kick in the teeth. The group criticising the move, saying successive governments have been responsible for downplaying the role of First Nations people in Australian society.
The very people who are responsible for denying Aboriginal people our rights have now taken over ownership and the rights of a flag that represents our people.
The corporation also calling for new laws to be created to support the right of Aboriginal people to own the flag. Tasmania's Australia Day events are feeling the COVID pinch, with a number of local councils changing their plans. Invasion Day protests are also moving online, with their campaign to change the date receiving some qualified support from the Premier.
Large crowds, new citizens and rewarding community members. That's how Australia Day is traditionally marked. But with COVID lingering, local councils are having to think differently.
With the wave that we're going through right now, we've had to rejig that program.
Clarence Council citizenship ceremony attendance limited to those receiving it. The annual awards also postponed.
We don't have access to one of these, ensure it's large enough for the size of the function that we normally hold.
Other events are also impacted. The city of Launceston scaling back its citizenship ceremony, with only those taking the pledge invited, while Burnie City Council is forging ahead, but under strict COVID-safe measures. La Trobe's presentation is still happening, but the Henley on Mersey Festival has been axed. No such issues for Hobart City Council. The Lord Mayor says the venue at Sandy Bay is large enough to cope.
And it is a very popular citizenship ceremony for people to attend. Being outdoors, it does make it that bit more COVID safe.
The pandemic also claiming one of the city's growing Australia Day events. Invasion Day protests moving to an online rally this year.
Aboriginal people are amongst the most vulnerable in the state, as well as right across the country. We didn't want to put people at risk.
Also confident the growing voices calling for a change of date will still be heard. The Premier today suggesting a return to the long weekend model.
Now, in terms of the date itself, it obviously does cause division with some within our community.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmanian News.
The next candidate.
Tasmania's Child Protection Services have some of the worst response times in the country, according to new data. The annual report on government services showed only a quarter of investigations commence within 7 days, while more than half of them take 3 months to complete. The CPSU says it's a result of a lack of funding.
Look, we're appalled by the figures in the ROGS report today in regard to child safety. It shows a safety system that is critically underfunded and overworked, and we have been saying this for year after year.
The state government has defended the data and says its approach is fundamentally different to other jurisdictions. TasNetworks has apologised for a second power outage in Hobart in as many nights. 743 customers in Battery Point and Salamanca were affected. A cable fault was identified as the cause. Power was restored by 11 o'clock last night. Tasmanians affected by incomplete or defective building work can soon access financial support from the state government. It plans to reintroduce legislation for home warranty insurance this year. It comes after the recent failure of Hotondo Homes and Inside Out Constructions. Further details will be available in the coming weeks, while Labor is calling for a parliamentary inquiry. One of the country's rising musical stars will team up with our state's most talented classical museums from Hobart's leg of Mona Foma. Moju will be backed by the Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra, along with a full band. The performance, which began as a collaboration with Orchestra Victoria, putting a new twist on their songs.
We got invited to come here for Mona Foma to do it with the TSO. So I was like, sure. I mean, why not?
Moju's songs are so from the heart and really have such a wide genre appeal. You know, soul, funk, hip hop, rap.
The concert takes place on Thursday at the Federation Concert Hall from 8 p.m. Tasmanian cyclist Nicole FRAIN has continued her stellar run of form in Stage 3 of the Festival of Cycling in Adelaide. After jostling back for the lead in, FRAIN launched a late attack in the sprint for the finish, crossing the line in second place. It follows a career-defining win at the recent Australian Road
in the NRS,
Cycling.
and yeah, now I do feel like I feel really confident in my ability and stepping up above that.
The top three had a Tasmanian flavour in Adelaide, with fellow Launceston rider Georgia Baker finishing third. Australia has rested Mitch Marsh and David Warner from the upcoming T20 series against Sri Lanka. It opens the door for Ben McDermott, who gets another chance at international level after being named Big Bash Player of the Series.
I don't think that I wasn't ready to play for Australia, but I do really feel ready now. I feel like I'm at the top of my game.
Justin Langer is on leave and will miss the series, with Andrew McDonald's taking over as coach.
Good evening, everyone. A cloudy day today with Launceston reaching 30 degrees, Burnie 24, 23 in Devonport and 19 in Hobart. Across the state, Flinders Island 27, King Island and Smithton 25, 24 in St Helens and Lyowini, Lowhead and Strawn 23 and 22 in Grove. Mid to low level cloud covered much of Tasmania today, although clear from the north and west throughout the morning. Across the country, mid to high level cloud sits over southern parts of South Australia and Western Australia. Cloud associated with thunderstorms has developed about eastern Victoria, while central WA was cloud free. Tomorrow's chart shows a high pressure system to the southeast of Tasmania, while a low pressure system in the Bight with associated fronts moves towards the state. East to southeasterly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, however lighter and more variable in the central west, but reaching up to 25 knots in the southwest. And there is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters except for parts of the east coast. 21 in Hobart tomorrow, showers clearing, and 23 in Geeveston, Bothwell reaching 24. A shower or two and 28 in Launceston, Devonport partly cloudy and 23, Cressy 27. Burnie a top of 23 degrees tomorrow, partly cloudy and 29 in Strawn, 24 in Curry. And looking at the east of the state, possible showers and 23 in St Helens, Swansea 21 and Orford reaching 20. And the UV is extreme 11s across the state tomorrow, with sunrise expected at 6:07 a.m. Looking on to Thursday, showers about the northwest extending statewide during the morning. Showers on Friday clearing from the northwest during the evening. And on Saturday, showers contracting to the north during the afternoon. 31 in Perth and Adelaide tomorrow, Melbourne 25, partly cloudy in Canberra and Sydney, and 33 degrees in Darwin. Currently Hobart mostly cloudy and 17 degrees, partly cloudy and 25 in Launceston, and Devonport 22 and partly cloudy. And that's all in weather tonight, Louise.
Lovely, thanks for that, Chelsea. And that's all your news for tonight as well. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you later with updates. Good night.